Loud. Excellent. Hello, everyone. My name is John Bailey, and I could not be more excited to be a co-moderator for tonight's event. Little introduction for myself. I'm a sophomore at Stanford studying EE and SIMSYS. I run NeuroCollege's speaker series team, and my co-moderator, Rio, will now introduce herself. So Rio, take it away.
Thanks, John. Hi, everyone. My name is Rio McClellan, and I am a rising junior at Harvard studying neuroscience and philosophy. So today we have the privilege of speaking with the founder of an organization whose overarching mission is this creation of a world without limitations. So here at NeuroCollege, we are a group of aspiring young neurotechnologists who are passionate about leveraging what we know about the brain to push the limits of what is possible and help shape this new world. We are a cross-college and highly interdisciplinary community who come together to write about neurotech, talk about neurotech, and introduce students to the industry. So this talk is a part of our reoccurring speaker series, which is designed to bring this exciting new world of neurotechnology just a bit closer to you.
And what an awesome opportunity we have to do just that tonight with our guest, Dr. Ramses Alcaide. Dr. Ramses Alcaide is an electrical engineer, neuroscientist, and previous CEO of Faro LLC and current CEO and co-founder at Neurable. At Faro, he managed high-impact health projects such as a malaria prediction system, a rehabilitation technology for stroke patients, and a health monitoring system. And as a researcher at the University of Michigan, where he got his PhD, he's worked extensively to develop the brain-computer interface for people with amputations, children with cerebral palsy, and people with ALS. His honors include the Neuroscience Innovator Award, National Science Foundation Fellowship, and Ford Foundation Fellowship, just to name a few. We could not be more excited for tonight's event. With that, Ramses, I will give you host privilege and you can take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much. First of all, I want to say go blue to Dave Jaffe. We've actually met before. And so it's good to see you. When I saw your name pop out, I was like, oh my God, it's so cool that he's here. So hello. It's been a long time. Great to meet all of you, especially the John Baileys in the room. Really strong turnout today. So excited to talk to you all. We also have a demo, and what was crazy is I had set up, the talk and everything today, and this team that we have here is just so incredible. They're like, we want to show a demo. We want to show. I didn't even expect it to happen. They just told me like an hour before this. So you're all very lucky, and that this team loves what they're doing, and they're actually staying here late. It's at 6 o'clock. I told them to go home at 4 because it's a Friday, but they wanted to stay here and show some of the work we're doing. So there they are. Adam Molnar screen is waving his hand. I don't know if you can see the three of them, but they're here. The rest of the team is getting the demo set up. So to start things off, I'm just going to share a little bit of history about the company itself. And then from there, tell you where we think neurotech is going in the future. I'm trying to keep this as short and light as possible so that you have time to see the demo, ask questions. Really, I think the best parts happen when we're talking instead of just showing. So with that, I'm going to start sharing my screen. Cool. All right, so to really understand Neurable, we have to take a little bit of a history tour. Actually, it was when I was a child. What Neurable really began is when I was about 8 years old. My uncle actually got into a trucking accident and lost both his legs. And this was one of the most traumatic moments for me as a kid. But what was even more significant was that I got to see him growing up as I grew up, and I saw him go through a lot of the challenges of having a prosthetic device, especially back then. And it really motivated me to do what we at Neurable here call a world without limitations. What would it be to create a world where people who are differently abled and fully abled could participate equally in the world? And so that's been the mission of the company since then. I ended up going to the University of Washington to get my electrical engineering degree, primarily focused on control systems and signal processing for prosthetics. And then that's when I realized that there's this huge disconnect between the actual machine and the brain itself. And that's what was causing that unnaturalness. And so I got my PhD at the University of Michigan. And that is kind of where we got to today. The technology was developed there, but since we've spun it out, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a future slide. But really, our main vision is creating this world without limitations. These are kind of our three big things that we focus on, which is equity, empowerment and potential. We believe that everyone should have, an equal start, an equal way to communicate, to be empowered with the technology, to be able to reach their own personal potential. I've worked with children who have cerebral palsy that are incredibly bright, but they can't express that, right? They can't express their full potential. I've worked with people who have ALS who didn't have the power to tell their loved ones that, they care about them, right? So how do we start to create the first steps in our world to bring this type of technology forward to them? And so, like I said, we were founded at the University of Michigan, 2016. Team size is about 17 people, so we're a pretty small team, but we like to keep it that way because we want to maintain our focus. The very first time that most people kind of heard us as a company was in 2017, where we actually revealed a brain-computer interface that enabled for virtual reality control. And this is our team. They're incredible. You'll see a lot of them tonight. They'll probably wave their hands. It's actually Davide's birthday today, so we were having a little party before this got on. But we have a lot of awesome people that have been working with us, including our lead scientist, Dr. Ali Yousefi, and a lot of his work you're actually going to see tonight. So the system that we're going to demo is actually something that was built off of his work. And really, when you're talking about the company, our motto has been, how do we bring this technology to everyone? So in 2011 is when I started my graduate school work. Back then we were using these giant electrode caps. We created a method for interpreting brain signal that was hundreds of times better than existing platforms. And so what we told ourselves is, what if we could use this technology not just for individuals who are differently abled, but how about we just make it the next way people interact with the world? Similar to how the touch screen used to be something that cost $20,000 and was an assistive technology. And then the iPhone came out, and now it's just the way we use our tech. What if we could do that with brain-computer interfaces? So we spent the last 10 years reducing our hardware to an everyday device. So in 2015, we maintained the same level of performance as our gel system, but we went to these dry electrodes, so there wasn't any gel at all. In 2018, we went down to about 6 electrodes and integrated into a VR system. And if any of you Google search any of our older videos, there's some really cool stuff. We're doing like an escape the room, but it's all brain control, and you can like grab objects and throw them. And it's really, really cool. And then in 2021, we finally got to the stage where we felt this is the first time we can bring a product to market. This is the first product that we could see not just everybody use, but also individuals who are differently able to use to communicate, to understand themselves better. And that was this pair of headphones that we call Enten. And so at that point, we decided, hey, we finally hit the form factor we want for the performance that we want. And so now we have to make this accessible. We have to make it popular. One thing that Elon Musk said is, if you want to change the industry, you have to make a super popular thing. Right. So in his case, he made a super popular electric car. So how do we make a super popular brain computer interface? And so you do market research, you figure out what people need, what are their pain points. We talked to, close to 500 people. We screened over 1,000 responses. It was a ton of work. But what we understood is that there was a key set of reasons that prevented brain computer interfaces from going mainstream. And I want you all to pay attention to these, because this is what has prevented a lot of things moving forward. And as you guys start to explore these careers, really keep these in mind. But the first one is function. There's a lot of consumer brain computer interfaces out there, but they normally don't work. People bring them home, they try them on, and then they realize that they're not getting what was advertised to them. Cost, societal fit was another one. So do I look weird? Right? Is there a forehead sensor on me or a giant net on me? And does that make me look weird in public? And it was really interesting. Today, I got a text message from somebody on our Discord, which you guys should all join. It's super fun. They're really smart people. But what they said is it's nice to have a brain computer interface that doesn't look like a Halloween costume when I'm out and about. Right? And so that's such a huge roadblock. How do you make it seamlessly fit in society? Comfort. It has to be something usable every day. And then the user experience. And this is where a lot of brain computer interfaces have failed as well too. Using them requires a lot of setup. It requires a lot of, calibration. And then on top of that, they don't work very well. And so we've made it our mission to solve these areas. and really bring a product to market that we think that consumers, not just researchers, but consumers can put on and it works well. The other things that we learned is that there was three kind of groups of people where this technology would be really valuable for. And the first individual group is individuals who like to quantify themselves. Imagine like a Fitbit, but for your brain. Another one, which is a significant focus point, was that people are working more and more all the time. And they want some sort of technology that can help them focus and really understand how to enter focus and stay there longer. And the last thing is that, time is getting smaller and smaller for people, just from the perspective that they have more to do. And so how can we give people more time per day by helping them be productive? And this was actually a really difficult thing for me to hear, because to me, I've always been the technologist in the company. And to me, the coolest stuff is like, how do we make things move? How do we, make commands happen and do et cetera, et cetera? How do we, like all these cool flashy demos? And this was kind of a reality check that was like, people don't need, at least the majority of people don't need a method for moving an object. Buttons already do that, right? But people really do need a way to understand themselves and to have a work and life balance. So I'm going to show you all a quick video, but I need to reshare my screen and allow for sound sharing real quick. So all of that work brings us to where we are today. And I'll show you kind of all the work that has come together in one video that kind of fits everything that we've been doing.
What if you could boost productivity and focus just by understanding your own brain? Meet Enten from Neurable, the smart headphones that tell you how and when you work best. Enten gives you scientific insights into your brain that help optimize your productivity and block out distractions. Whether distractions prevent you from getting through an onslaught of tasks, or you want the focus to make your aspirations a reality, Enten helps you stay focused on what matters most and win back time in your day. When you focus, your brain cells produce electrical signals. Enten has cutting-edge, soft EEG sensors woven into the ear cushions that detect these signals and interpret them using advanced signal processing algorithms. The Neurable app then translates your brain activity into data and insights that are practical and easy to understand. With Enten, track how specific activities impact your focus and dive into trends that show when and where you focus best. Build better habits so you can optimize your day and avoid burnout. Plan certain tasks around your peak concentration times and schedule breaks for when you naturally struggle to focus. You can even learn what music keeps you in the zone. While you listen to your playlists on your favorite music apps, Enten will track which songs help you focus and offer recommendations for what to listen to when. These headphones adapt to you, learning what impacts your concentration and sharing real-time advice based on your cognitive state. Enten will prompt you to take a break when you need to restore your energy and focus. Or, when you're in the zone, Enten will automatically cancel background noise and block notifications to keep you from getting distracted. Your privacy is our priority. Your data and personalized insights belong to you, are stored safely, and will never be sold to anyone else. Neurable is a group of leading neuroscientists, engineers, and veterans of the consumer electronics industry with 27 patents granted or pending. Enten is only the tip of the iceberg of how Neurable can apply incredible science to improve your daily life. Future software updates will enable you to measure emotional states beyond focus, add new controls to your computer or mobile phone, and provide insights into the health of your mind and body. Support Neurable's campaign and help make frontier technology a part of everyday life. Enten from Neurable. Focus on what matters.
So that's been the culmination of a lot of years worth of work, and finally taking this deep technology and turning it into something that can be used and can be targeted toward everyday individuals. And that's really how we're going to start accelerating the evolution and adoption of brain-computer interfaces. So with that, I'm actually going to jump toward the demo that the team has put together. I'm just going to explain things real quick. So they're going to be doing a small task. And this task is called the Stroop Task. And basically, it's just a task that they use in psychology. It's to give somebody something to do. And for you, it would be coding. It might be writing your paper. It might be reading a book, basically something that you do to maintain your focus that you want to be good at. And so they're going to be doing the Stroop task. And at first, you're going to see this blue line, and the higher it is, the more focused the individual is. And then we're going to throw distractors at them. And if the team is super hyped, then we might even ask some of you to maybe talk out loud and try to distract them as well too. And you can see in the graph how it affects them. So I'm going to go check with the team. I'll be right back. Hold on one second. All right, Neurable HQ, you should have screen sharing capabilities, and I'll let you take it from here. So this is Mavi. She's one of our research engineers. You'll see the graph in the bottom. That's going to be her attention score. The screen in the upper left-hand corner is going to be what she sees on her screen. So she's going to be doing a color matching task called the Stroop Task. And basically, she just has to hit the key that corresponds to the font color. And what's really cool about this is there's actually some words that the font and the word are different. And so she has to overcome that. And so we'll have Mavi start. I'll be quiet and I don't know if I muted or not, but you can see that as soon as she started doing this task, her attention went up compared to where it was bouncing around. And what's interesting, all that front half, that's probably my presentation. So you can see she was bored a few times, but there was a few times she was really into it. And so what's going to happen in the next kind of section is there's going to be a few different disruptions that are going to be sent to her. Imagine you're in class and you get a Slack notification or a call, FaceTime call from one of your friends. And we're going to see how these distractors affect her productivity. And then in the second half, so you can see right now, this is what it would be if she was maintaining focus. She didn't have any distractors going and she was doing her homework essentially. And so you can see that distraction comes in where that red line was at, and her productivity just tanks at that time point. She's able to recover pretty well. And what's really exciting is that all this is happening in real time. So there's a lot of really cool things that we can do with this. So imagine you're working and you lose your focus. We can probably, we can let you know. And so you can snap back into it much faster. But the main concept here is how do we create a tool that is so useful to people because it's able to give them an insight about themselves that gives them more time during the day. And just being able to see that how impactful distractors are is what we're able to show with this initial version. So I think it's going to end soon. Is that right, James? Give me a thumbs up. Yep. And then is there a way for people to distract Mavi? Let me know before you unmute her. Is that okay? All right, so this is what we're gonna do. We're all going to unmute ourselves at the same time. And I'm gonna count to 3, okay? And on 3.
Ah, hello, hello, hello.
Hold on.
Awesome.
Hey, hello.
Hola, 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 hola.
All right,
hola,
so
hola.
she just stopped playing. So the next round, there's going to be no text messages or anything. And I'll let you know, I'll unplug the headphones and then she'll be able to hear you and you can do the distracting.
Okay. What
But,
I
but
want
first,
you
you
to
got to
do,
let her get into the zone.
this is what we're gonna do. So she's gonna get into the zone, okay, James? And then
You
I'm
go ahead.
going
Yeah,
to
go
count
ahead.
to 3. And on 3, I want you to unmute, and then we all say, hi, Mavi, super, super loud. Cool? All right. 1, 2, 3. Hi, Mavi.
Hey, how are you?
Bobby.
Hi, Mavi.
Bobby!
How you doing, Mavi?
Bobby!
So focused, aren't you?
Bobby!
So focused. Come on, so good, buddy.
Awesome.
She's trying
Cool.
so hard to like stay focused.
She's trying to stay focused.
She's trying to fight you all off with her focus right now.
It all broke. It all broke.
Cool. Thank you so much, team. I really appreciate it. This was awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, wait.
Okay, wait.
Okay.
Who else?
I just want to show the road races for those who like to see
Oh, yeah.
EEGs.
Oh, yeah. Some raw data.
And that's
Hey, stay steady real quick, just so you can see if we can get some like alpha waves going real quick.
okay. I'm going to close my eyes.
Okay. Oh, yep, there they are. Cool. Thank you so much, Mavi. Team, Michelle, James, everyone who's here. Thank you so much. That was incredible. Thank you for staying extra late tonight. And, that's awesome. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. But thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thank you guys. It was so cool.
So what you saw basically is this is a simplified version, without the headphones. Distractors come in because what we can do with the headphones is actually turn on do not disturb mode on your computer and noise cancellation once we know you're focused. So you don't have to do it manually, which actually gets you out of focus. And so you can see here a person's brain without the headphones essentially, so with distractions versus with. And just the productivity boost that comes from that is quite significant. And our main goal isn't like, how do we make people more productive? It's how do we let people, get more done in their day so they can go do something for themselves, right? Like they need that kind of balance. Rest is a part of performance as well. And so where are we going in the future? This isn't just for us, but this is where I believe neurotech is going in the future. At least right now, what we can do reliably with our system is we can do this attention measure that we showed you today. We have a binary click system, which we're gonna be showing off in the near future, but it basically allows you to click things. For example, whenever I do meetings with VCs, I can actually click the slides using my headphones, which is super cool. And mute and unmute Zoom. So there's a lot of really cool things that we can do with that. And we're on headphones, right? In the future, though, being able to collect brain data consistently really opens up a much even bigger pathway for the future, right? Short-term fatigue, stress, understanding how music affects you. Imagine going from binary clicking to even one word within an app, right? Moving from headphones to earbuds. And then once again, as more data gets collected, as the entire industry moves forward, you can see a future where brain-computer interfaces become a part of the future of everything. And they're in all your devices, from headphones, earbuds to AR glasses, even augmented reality contact lenses, because you're going to need a control source for those as well too. And so with that, we'll jump toward questions, but take a picture of this, join our newsletters, come join our Discord channel. Super exciting. Lots of talk happens there. And it's so awesome to communicate with so many people. And I'm on there. So like, if you want to chat with me, you can come chat with me as well too.
Thank you so much, Ramses. That was incredible.
Thanks to the team. They're incredible. They really went above and beyond. They're actually standing over there looking at a giant screen with all of us. So can you unmute your screen, Adam, real quick? We'll see. Anyways, yeah, happy to take any questions. Oh, there they are. There they are. Everybody wave. Cool. So yeah, we'll take it from there. Questions, etc. How do we quantify focus? So basically, this has been something that we've been working on for about 2 years. It's not based off of our work directly. It's actually based off of the work of Dr. Ali Yousefi. He was working at Harvard Medical School, and he's now a professor at Worcester Polytechnical Institute. And it was a system that he created invasively. And so a lot of our work actually starts with making sure that the signal can be proved invasively, mainly because if it's just recorded non-invasively, it's really difficult to build something repeatable. And so we took a look at his work, and you're welcome to Google search it, Dr. Ali Yousefi. And what he was able to do is he was able to demonstrate that reaction time and attention were closely related to one another. And then on top of that, create a model that could predict a person's reaction time from EEG directly. So electroencephalography, the sensors that we're using to record brain data. Once we saw that, we knew, hey, this is real tech. And it's how do we make this work into a consumer headset? And so it took many, many sleepless nights to get there, but the team did it, and that's kind of where we've gotten to. How much signal is based on motion? Less motion means more focused. None of the signals based off of motion. We're going to be releasing a white paper soon, actually, where we've gone through studies to, like, for example, we did the same test we did today. But what we do is instead of having people, click on the keyboard or answer a text question, we actually just had them imagine a color that was the same color as the screen of text, right? So we've done a lot of tests to remove as much motion artifacts as possible and make sure that the signals is brain-based. Any chance you can drop his name in chat for spelling? Yes, absolutely. And Dr. Yousefi is going to make a lot of friends tonight. So let's see. Is Enten specifically designed to help people with distractions such as ADHD and overall help improve their performance? So we designed the technology for everyone because everyone has issues with distractions. And that's something that we saw very significant, but we've had very neurodiverse individuals come into our lab. For example, myself, I actually have ADHD, and I found it to be an incredibly useful tool for me. And I'm sure that as we move forward and we get even larger data sets, we can create more customized methods for understanding neurodiverse individuals and providing them better support. I'm going to pick somebody who's raising their hands because I want to get some of you as well too. What about the real John Bailey? How about you just start moderating?
Yeah, sounds great. So I think Matthew had his hand up first. Matthew, if you want to unmute.
Sure, I dropped in chat at the same time, but I had two quick questions. The attentional scoring, is it based off of differential activity level between dorsal and ventral streams or off of EEG metrics?
Yeah, it's based purely off of EEG. So we're picking up EEG around the ear. We have a few different hypotheses as to what these signals are. Our leading hypotheses right now is that the brain is highly conductive. And so as attentional regulation happens in the frontal lobe to other areas of your brain, depending on the task that you're doing, we believe that we're capturing those attentional responses. And to be honest, we wanted to do a forehead sensor because you get way better signal near where you want, but that's, that's not what consumers are going to buy. And so it was a significant challenge to say, hey, we're going to pick it up in these locations that aren't necessarily perfect. How do we overcome that with machine learning to get a signal that works really reliably and in real time? That was actually the biggest challenge.
That would make sense. And there was a second part to that too. Is there any comparative analysis between ADHD and non-ADHD subjects in the studies you were performing?
Not yet. Like I said, we have data sets with individuals who are neuro diverse. So some of them include ADHD. We haven't processed that data separately. Once we get enough individuals, first of all, the software works on them as well too. But once we get more individuals that have ADHD, enough that we can actually maybe make a customized model for them, we're planning on doing that. But in the short term, we don't have enough of those individuals.
Okay, thank you.
Now we can get Jack.
Hey, Dr. Ramses, wonderful talk. It's quite fascinating what you guys are able to achieve with the headphone, like basically the same as what BrainCo and other companies are able to do with a basically prefrontal cortex EEG headset. My question is that how do you guys deal with the fact that all the EEG sensors are so close to each other and that the reference sensor is also so close to each other? Like, how do you guys deal with the signal like noise and the fact that the reference electrode is so close to the other different electrodes?
That's an awesome question. Because it touches on, oh, someone might want to move themselves. I'm going to mute Jay real quick. There we go. Cool. So that's a great question because it actually comes into some of our design philosophy. So the reason we have so many electrodes is because people aren't perfect. They're not going to put these headphones on perfectly every time. And so that allows for redundancy for us to find where we can get the best signal, maybe hair's in the way, maybe other issues are in the way. And so how do we make a headphone that can work consistently for a person instead of the other way around, which is having a person to have to mess around with their headset to make it work. And so we're not necessarily using all the signals at the same time to make predictions, but that's an important way of designing the product for the consumer.
Wait, but wouldn't all the signals sort of cancel out to zero since all the readings will be so similar? Like, I guess that's based on my understanding of how I guess EEG reference electrodes work. But
yeah. So first of all, we have a ground and a reference. So part of the signal, like all the signal from one side of the headset isn't affected by the ground or the reference. So part of the reason that we have them separated just for that reason. But no, we get individualized signals from each sensor. It did take a little bit of engineering to get all that going, but we have a really good hardware team that works on that.
Good. Thank you.
Jay.
Hey, Ramses, thanks you for the talk. I'm a neurotechnology graduate student at Stanford. So I work in more invasive technologies. And so I guess my question is sort of related to your last slide when you're talking about the future of essentially like decoding neural signal. Where do you think the limitations are for non-invasive consumer-facing technologies? I think things like attention are pretty well understood and distributed across multiple brain regions. So non-invasive scalp electrodes might continue to be strong, but how much more can you get? I think things like language, like you mentioned, a single word or a phrase, that's already challenging with single units in cortical regions. So where do you see that going? Where do you see Neurable's role in that sort of transformation?
Awesome question. So what I would say is our definition of a brain-computer interface isn't fully limited to just EEG, right? Anything that you can get a sensor that enables you to understand human intent is fair game for us when it comes to how do we, whether it's an F-near signal, whether, it could even be an accelerometer. If it let you predict what a person wanted, you could use it as a brain-computer interface. That's our mentality to it. And so we're actually developing a system and it actually works with our headphones when we have some prototypes. I can't necessarily disclose it right now, but what I can tell you is very soon we're going to be showing off some of this tech where we are doing some of the stuff that is on that timeline. And I think that you're going to see that there's going to be a revolution happening in neurotechnology non-invasively. And that's about as much as I can say.
There's no realm of signal decoding you could tell more than that. That's so tantalizing.
You know, there's a few people who have seen it, and to me, it's actually one of the most exciting tools that we're building. But there's a reason that in our little video that says that there's going to be different forms of control in the future. That's why, you know, and at the end of the day, we want to help as many people as we can. And we believe that augmented reality is going to need control systems. We believe that we can create what is the next computer around the head. You know, to me, your phone is going to go the way that your laptop did, which is going to be your work device. And you're going to be wearing headphones or you know, AirPods essentially, where you can do a lot of the things you do on your phone right now. And that's a lot of the vision of where the company is going. And you know, that's why we've been able to stay funded for such a long time, because we're building some really cool stuff that we've yet to start to really show off.
All right, can I ask a side question? Just not to make up, nothing related to this, but I'm also a material scientist. So I was wondering if you could speak a little bit about the fabric electrodes that go into the headphone.
Most of our innovations are actually on the software side.
Okay.
Those electrodes, I can't just, you know, talk about our partnership with them, but they're you know, medical grade EEG company, and a lot of the work was how do we take those signals and then make them work consistently around people, for people, and then from there, how do we use our signal processing IP that we developed at the University of Michigan, and that the team really has just completely reinvented at this point and done an even better job to really provide valuable methods for individuals to use neurotech.
Cool. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Eric?
Hey, Dr. Ramsey. I've come to a couple of your talks before, so just as wonderful as the last ones. But I was curious about Enten's like developer support. I know I'm in the Discord, so I've seen that there's going to be some availability of the raw data, but I was wondering if there's going to be maybe not for Enten, but for later down the line, any like essentially like APIs or frameworks that allows for better interaction with Neurable's devices and the raw data, so someone doesn't have to like build a deep learning model from scratch in order to use the data.
Yeah, so our point of view is actually that in the future, you shouldn't have to reinvent the signal processing to do things, right? And so we want to allow people to have access to the output of our algorithms, because we think that it's going to be easier to make basically develop things with it, right? So our attention algorithm, for example, today, it would be a lot easier to build your app on top of that instead of having to rebuild, you know, do 2 years worth of work, you know, 200,000 data points of, you know, 45 experiments, hundreds and hundreds of participants to validate everything. It just, we don't want you to reinvent things. And so while we do offer raw data, that's something that we want to do. It's mainly for the community. I think that 95% of developers are just going to use our tools because it's just going to make it so much faster. And I mean, our machine learning and filtration system is where we built the company from. And so that's where I think our strongest suit is at.
And just out of curiosity, do you have any plans for like an emulator of some sorts that would allow you to kind of program the brain while you're still building out the hardware aspect?
Everything is going to happen in waves. You know, like we're a small startup company. You know, we're 17 people. We're going to get a little bit bigger, but what I would say is we're going to try to make it as easy as we can. And it's going to take time, and hopefully individuals like you, Eric, can provide us feedback so that we can build in the right direction. We're not going to be able to provide the same level of software suite as Apple does with their current, you know, languages, but we're going to do our best.
Okay. Yeah, that makes total sense. Thank you.
Yep. I wish you would ask me some more concrete questions. These are so abstract. I apologize, I can't answer, you know, all of them completely.
No worries. All right, Sanjit.
Hi, Dr. Alcaide. First of all, great honor to meet you. I'm a really, really big fan of your work and
little about myself. I'm an undergrad student at Rutgers University studying computer science with a big focus in XR and robotics, and BCI is something I've always wanted to explore. I'm actually working as a part-time research assistant at the University of Auckland doing some EEG studies. And like one of my questions I had was, because I know you brought up Enten, and one of your other demos was like VR, AR, BCI control based off neural activities. So I guess for BCI technologies is it possible to use it to help treat anxiety issues for people specifically with Tourette syndrome? Because like, anxiety triggers Tourette's, and I feel BCI has very big application, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's, what I would say is the answer is yes. The answer is we're not doing that right now though, right? And so I hope that by enabling this platform to people where the data is going to be open and they can take the output from our algorithms instead of necessarily having to reinvent everything themselves. I hope that there's going to be developers, people as passionate and motivated as you to help build some of that. It would be impossible for us to build everything. And not to say that it's not important to us, it really is. And that's part of the mission that we're doing. It's just impossible. And so if this is something that's really exciting and interesting to you, please, send me a message on Discord. And as we move forward, I'd love to see what we can do to help more people build more applications and things that they're passionate about.
And like a side question, is it possible to access any Neurable SDKs for like XR development?
Through our platform? I mean, we're planning on making it as open as possible, just so if you can access your, for example, we're not that I'm promising anything, but like, if it's going to be a C library, for example, which is what we're using a lot here as well too in Python, then whatever you can access with that, you should be able to access with our system. So you should be able to mix and match however you want to use the tech with.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you. It's great to meet you.
Love it. Alrighty, Suleiman.
Hey, Dr. Ramses. So I guess you asked for more concrete questions, so this might be a bit forward, but I was wondering if you were taking any interns over the summer or anytime soon, because I'd love to work with Neurable. So yeah, that was it.
Yeah, no, question that I think, I'm sure a lot of people have as well too. So we do take interns at Neurable, and we want to make sure that everyone contributes as much and we can teach them as much as we can. And so because of that, we only take a very few amount of interns because we want to make sure that the experience is really solid. The best way to reach out about intern information is, first of all, join our Discord. A lot of our interns are actually, we meet them and we talk to them on Discord. That's a way that we get to know you, right? And then second of all, there's somebody named Jagan on the Discord. He's our VP of engineering. If you want to, talk with him, ask him about internship opportunities. If it has to do more with like product or other kind of related things. And there's Jamie, there's team members there, talk to them and ask them about internships and they'll give you the information. But we want to get to know you first, right? That's really important for us because our culture is so tight here. I mean, look at these people, they're staying late for all of you, right? And they're doing it to be supportive to what we're doing here, what I'm doing here. And like, that's the kind of people that we want to develop.
Cool. Yep. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, Smithy.
Hi, I had a question that was slightly less technical in nature. It seems like a big part of the philosophy of the company is like designing for all people and focusing on equity. But a lot of times these kind of projects can get stuck within the early adopting high income like tech bubble or like a very small group of people. And so I was wondering if Neurable has had time to think yet about how to make sure that everybody that needs it and can benefit from it can access it.
Yeah, that's a really deep question. From our perspective, there's three kind of ways to make sure that this is accessible. One, like accessibility is the word, right? So it has to be price accessible, right? It has to be accessible to different individuals. It has to be easy to use. Like those are all forms of accessibility. We've thought a lot about that. I can't say that we don't know yet is the answer because we need to release this product and we need to have it in people's hands. but the idea is to provide them something so valuable that they don't want to live without it. You know, it's like your phone. If you go missing with your phone for one day, like it feels weird, right? And like stuff isn't right. So how can we make something so valuable that if it's missing for them, you know, you know, you don't feel like your maximum self, right? Because we're providing so much value to you. And then from there, it's can that create organic growth and sharing so that individuals want to have it, just like the phone did, right? And so that's the model that we're taking essentially. And that hopefully will lead to ubiquity of the technology.
Excellent. All right, we're going to take a few more questions. At 5 minutes till, Rio and I are going to ask the most asked questions from the pre-source questions from registration. We're going to keep moving. Next is Ali.
Hi, thank you, Dr. Ramsey, for your wonderful presentation. So the question I had was about the skills that the people in the brain-computer interface research and industry are looking for. I'm a first-year computer science student. I want to potentially be employed by companies in the field or even start my own company in the field. I wanted to know, like, what are some skills that are in high demand in those areas? What are some needs? And how can I, like, let's say, tell the employer that I have acquired those skills? Like, let's say, provide them with the evidence. For example, in terms of programming, should I create projects? Or should I, like, for example, in terms of neuroscience, should I take courses in university? Or should I do research projects? Or something like that?
So I'll answer this in kind of like two parts. Part number one is that almost any vector can work in a neurotech company because there's so much to do. Like we still need lawyers, right? We still need marketing people. We still need, so don't think that it just has to be a tech background. I think a lot of people think that it is just a tech background. But the key part of your question is which is the highest demand? And the highest demand is in the tech world, right? We primarily hire, at least here at Neurable, PhDs or master's students in computer science or neuroscience or cognitive science or computational or applied mathematics, etc., physics. And the main reason for that is because we primarily work with signal processing. And so if you want to have the skills to look like a competitive candidate, then you're going to have to take classes in those domains. Really, you know, this is going to scare some people away, unfortunately, but the harder the math, like the better, you know, the more, you know, I remember one time I was doing a control system math and my professor was like, and as you can clearly see from this 22-dimensional matrix, it's like, those are the maths you're going to want to take, right? You're going to want to do signal processing. You're going to want to know frequency and time domain analysis. And then, yeah, please do projects, be passionate about it. You know, show people that's actually hunger. Our motto here is we want to find people that are hungry and humble. Like you have to be humble enough to learn, but you have to be hungry enough that you love neurotech. You've been doing this, that you would do neurotech even if we didn't exist, right? And that passion is so important and is a huge way to make you be a successful candidate for any company.
Thank you, Professor. Sorry, Doctor.
Griffin.
Yeah, I was wondering if you could go into a little more detail about the data you guys collected for the focus graph. I did like I tried to do a similar project for a class project like earlier this year. And the problem that we ran into like conceptually was we're trying to predict focus, right? Mm-hmm. But you collect like data from someone doing like a reaction time test, then the data that you collect is not going to like generalize to when someone's like, you know, checking emails or doing some kind of work. So anything you can say about that kind of process and how you thought about that would be helpful.
Yeah, so that's a really, really great point, especially from the neuroscience perspective, which is how to make things generalize, right? And, you know, the tech doesn't work in every single situation, right? That's going to take more time. And that's going to be something that we'll be continuously building forward. I think that we have it working in very significant amount of applications right now. Actually, the demo that you saw today is not the system that we built the tech on. There's actually like no data in the model that we use for that. And so we're always striving toward generalizability. So that is a common problem. It is going to take time. But we've had, you probably had a quarter, we had at least 2 years and, hundreds and hundreds of participants. So we kind of had a little bit of a leg up there. So I think it just, it's just a matter of continuously feeding more data, trying out more situations and generalizing the technology over time.
Can you say anything about the tasks you had the participants do?
Yeah, so initially we did this one task where it was, we did a Stroop task essentially, was one of the tasks that we did. But we had them do different backgrounds, right? Once again, the Stroop task is mainly to have them do something, right? But we had them go through different environments, including one that was a roller coaster, one that was like a calm beach, and theoretically, and one was that was like an Indian marketplace. And each one of those has a certain different level of distractor, right? And so, and the things that distract you are different. On a roller coaster, it could be because you're taking a turn, while in the market, it could be because somebody was wearing a really bright green shirt. And so those were kind of 3 different scenarios that we tried. We also did another one where you were essentially like a TSA agent and you were watching luggage go past you, and some of them was dangerous, some of them weren't. In that case, they weren't doing the Stroop, but we were doing something to try to measure their reaction time, right? How well could they pick out the luggages with and without the weapons? And we've done, like I said, 45 different experiments to get to this point, to get to the generalizability and the ease of use that we feel comfortable releasing a product with.
Mm-hmm. So it's like, if you collect enough data and enough different reaction time paradigms, do you think there's something that generalizes to like all kinds of work?
The system that we have right now, I feel really good about how well it generalizes on most types of work. We're still running experiments right now. Like we have a separate one where you're actually reading an essay and you have to answer questions. So it would be closer to like a test situation, right? And some of them work out, some of them don't. And the ones that don't, we'll collect more data and we'll keep refining things. But the other thing too is what we believe we're capturing is the frontal lobe telling other areas of your brain to either inhibit or excite, depending on the task. And so that by itself allows for more generalizability, because we don't have to know what it's doing to the other parts of the brain. We just have to know that that regulation is happening. And so that allows for more generalizability as well.
Cool. Thanks. Really great talk.
Thank you. That was a really good, deep question. There was a lot there.
Those are some excellent questions, y'all. Unfortunately, we do have the top 2 questions from our RSVPs that we want to ask Dr. Ramses while he's here. So the first one I will ask, which a lot of people were kind of asking, you've kind of touched on it in different ways, but advice for students who are either, as we heard from earlier, just getting started with their academic career, who are PhD students and have an idea and want to transition from, academia to the private sector, for people who are just getting into neurotechnology. Kind of what are the key, tenets of advice that you would give students all along their journey who really want to change the world with neurotechnology?
Yeah, so at least what I've kind of come to experience is that there's 2 ways to tackle like entrepreneurship. One of them is like the intense deep tech kind of perspective. And from that perspective, you're going to get funding, you're going to get, you're going to be able to move forward faster if you really show off the capabilities of what you can do. And then the second one is, it's done more by software companies. And this is like providing something small and simple that provides significant value to people. We've kind of had to go through both arcs. Right. At first, it was how do we make this technology work reliably and consistently in a form factor? And that took a lot of deep tech work to get there. And now we're getting to the point where it's like, all right, how do we create consistent value? So we've kind of had to go through both curves, but those are kind of like the 2 approaches that I've seen for most individuals. And where it becomes an issue is if you are trying to do one, but you fit more in the other. But my advice in general is just go do it. You're going to learn so much. Even if you fail, there's no such thing as failure. Success is just a whole bunch of failures stacked on top of each other. Go do it. Go learn so much more. Like failing, this is just like part one of your chapter. This is part one of your own legacy that you're building, right? Like this is just training for what you're really supposed to be doing. And as long as you have that mentality, like you'll be fine. So just go do it.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ramses. Our final question for you tonight is just, what are you most excited about? I know you kind of touched upon this, but lots of people are just interested to hear kind of what is most exciting to you in this domain and in this field.
The most exciting thing to me is that this is literally the tip of the iceberg. And I know people have probably been hearing that about neurotech for many, many years. I've heard it for many years too and didn't believe it. And now I finally believe it. You know, I see so many, areas converging. I see a lot of companies doing really exciting things that are actually working. I think that we've been in this era for like the last 10 to 20 years of consumer BCIs that don't work. And now I'm starting to see companies that are actually doing it legitimately and really growing. And this is the beginning of something so much bigger. And the fact that like NeuroCollege even exists shows you that like there's that excitement, there's that energy. And this is the first big push. It took VR died like 5 times before we got to something that was actually consumer viable. Neurotech did too, but this is the one that's going to stick.
Wow, I could not think of a better way to finish up this talk. I know we're at the hour. Dr. Ramses, final question, for people who are interested in you and Neurable, I know you mentioned the Discord. What are some of the channels that people can follow up on to stay connected after this talk?
Best way to get connected with us. Before I do that though, somebody said, should they drop out to do neurotech? No, don't drop out. Go to school. If you'll know when you should drop out, if you get enough momentum that you're going to be so successful that it doesn't matter what you do for the rest of your life afterwards. Trust me, you'll know when you should drop out, right? Don't drop out. Stay in school, get smarter, use that to do more badass things. That's my advice. Best way to get a hold of me, go, join our Discord and come talk to us, come hang out with us, join our newsletter. I'm also available on Twitter. Feel free to reach out. We love to connect with our community. We believe that the future of neurotech is going to be built off of community. And so all of you are part of that. So come join us. And Eric can probably give me a thumbs up on that one because he knows I'm on there and we're always working. There you go. So come join us.
Excellent. All righty. Well, thank y'all so much for coming. We're going to stay behind for the next half hour. If anyone wants to stay behind, we're going to have a little after party. But other than that, thank you so much, Dr. Ramses, for coming. It's been just an absolute pleasure. One of the best talks we've had. This was awesome. And thank you, Neurable team. Everyone wave.
Yes, thank you to the team.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
Little family. That's so awesome and inspiring.
Take care.
Y'all are
It
the
was a
best.
pleasure.
Take care. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Yeah, feel free to stay behind. Anyone who wants to stay, we're going to have a little quick discussion, get to know each other, talk neurotech. Wow. Can I just say, like, that was like really, really inspiring. Like just the fact that you just had that small group of people there who are like all so dedicated to this. Like, that's like I know everyone always like hypes up like, oh, I want to do a startup, but like that was like a family, that like redefined what it means to be living and working for me, just seeing that. But that was awesome. So anyways, alrighty. Good to see everyone here. I'm assuming if you're here right now, you're here for the after party. So this is super exciting to have all y'all. Ria, what do we think? Do we want to go around and do quick introductions, just kind of get a feel on where everyone's coming from and what everyone's interested in?
Yes, that sounds wonderful. I can start. My name is, I already kind of introduced myself, but just as a recap for those who joined maybe a little late, my name is Rio. I am currently a rising junior studying neuroscience and philosophy at Harvard.
And I will go next, and then I'll popcorn. Also, real quick, it's still recording. So Ramses had host privilege when he left.
Oh,
so I don't know how this is gonna work.
Yeah, is anyone? Nobody's the host.
Please?
Oh wait,
I'm the
I'll
host.
be the host.
Who's the host?
I'm the host. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Could you transfer that host privilege back
Sure,
to
sure.
either John or I?
Sure.
Bro, that's funny. See you, Dave. Thanks for coming.
Dave.
Thing is, my computer is about to crash. So if it crashes, like the meeting is gonna end.
Oh, is it gonna end? Oh,
Yeah, right now I have like a huge lag for like the picture. I just hear your voices, so it's gonna
Oh,
crash if I don't transfer the like the host person, it's gonna crash.
Hopefully it hot potatoes to one of us.
Oh,
Sweet,
you're the
okay, I'm the
host.
host now. Excellent. We're gonna stop recording.